It's a Friday night, your phone is full of names, hundreds of them, people you've met, people you've laughed with, people you could call right now if you wanted to. And yet, you're sitting alone and something heavy is settling into your chest. Something you'd call loneliness, if anyone bothered to ask. You probably think that feeling is a flaw, a glitch in an otherwise functioning life, a quiet signal that something has gone wrong with you specifically. But the real answer is far stranger. That ache is not a malfunction. It is one of the oldest and most sophisticated survival tools your body has ever owned. It is doing exactly what it was built to do. And it has been keeping your bloodline alive for hundreds of thousands of years. Let me show you why. Start with a simple question. Why does loneliness hurt? Not metaphorically, actually hurt. Why does sitting alone produce a physical sensation in your body, a tightness, a hollowness, something almost like pain? Things in your body don't hurt by accident. Hunger hurts so you'll eat. Thirst hurts so you'll drink. Pain hurts so you'll pull your hand off the stove. Every unpleasant sensation you have is a messenger, and the message is always the same. Fix this, or you'll die. So what is loneliness trying to fix? A scientist named John Cacioppo spent his entire career on that question. He was a neuroscientist at the University of Chicago, and he became known, half-jokingly, as Dr. Loneliness. He studied it the way other scientists study hunger or fear. And what he found rewrote everything we assumed about being alone. Loneliness, he discovered, is not weakness. It is an alarm. Think about your ancestors. Not the polished cavemen of cartoons, but real human beings, 200,000 years ago, standing on an open savanna. They were not the fastest animal out there, not the strongest, not the biggest. A human alone on that landscape was a slow, soft, clawless creature surrounded by things with teeth. So how did you survive long enough to exist? The group, the tribe. The band of 30 or 40 people who hunted together, slept together, watched the dark together. A human inside the group was protected. A human outside the group was food. Being alone wasn't sad. Being alone was lethal. And here is where evolution did something clever. It needed a way to keep early humans glued to their tribe, a force strong enough to override laziness, pride, and petty arguments. It couldn't rely on logic because early humans didn't sit around calculating survival odds. It needed something faster than thought, something that grabbed you by the body, so it built loneliness. It made separation feel awful. It made isolation produce a gnawing, restless discomfort that wouldn't let you settle until you returned to the group. The humans who felt that discomfort the strongest were the ones who hurried back to the fire. The humans who didn't feel it wandered off alone, and the night swallowed them. You are descended from the warriors, the ones who couldn't stand to be apart. The ache you feel on a Friday night is the inheritance they left you. But it gets stranger because the discomfort isn't just emotional, it's wired into the same machinery as physical injury. A researcher named Naomi Eisenberger ran an experiment that sounds almost too simple to matter. She put people in a brain scanner and had them play a basic computer game of catch with two other players. Toss the ball, catch the ball, toss it back. Then partway through, the other two players stopped throwing to the participant. They just kept passing it between themselves, leaving the third person out. It was a meaningless game. Strangers. A digital ball. Nothing real was lost. And yet the moment people were excluded, a specific region of their brain lit up, the dorsal anterior cingulate cortex. Don't let the name scare you. It's simply the part of your brain that registers physical pain. The same region that fires when you stub your toe or touch something hot. Read that again. Being left out of a pointless game activated the brain's pain alarm. Your brain, it turns out, does not draw a clean line between a broken bone and a broken bond. To the oldest parts of your mind, social rejection and bodily injury are the same emergency. Because for most of human history, they were. To be cut off from the group was a wound, often a fatal one. So when loneliness hurts, it's not being dramatic. It's using the only language your survival brain truly understands: pain. Now, you might be thinking, fine, that explains the savannah, but I'm not on a savannah. I have walls, locks, food in the fridge, and a phone full of names. Why do I still feel this? This is the twist. Your body has not received the memo that the world has changed. The alarm was calibrated for a world that no longer exists, and it's still running on the old settings. Your nervous system can't tell the difference between being physically banished from a Stone Age tribe and scrolling through a feed alone at midnight while everyone else seems to be somewhere better. The signal is ancient, the trigger is modern. And that mismatch is doing something to your body that you can't feel happening. A scientist named Steve Cole studies this at the genetic level. He looks at how loneliness changes the way your genes behave, not the genes themselves, but which ones get switched on and which get switched off. And he found something disturbing. In chronically lonely people, the genes that drive inflammation get turned up, and the genes that fight off viruses get turned down. Think about what that means. Your body, sensing isolation, quietly prepares for a different kind of threat. Inflammation is the body's response to physical wounds, to the bites and gashes of a dangerous social world. So a lonely body braces for injury, even when no injury is coming. It's standing guard against a tribe that left, against attackers who aren't there. Over months and years, that constant low bracing wears the body down. It raises the risk of heart disease, of stroke, of the slow accumulation of damage that ends lives early. How early? A researcher named Julianne Holt-Lunstad gathered the data from dozens of studies covering hundreds of thousands of people, and her conclusion stopped a lot of doctors in their tracks. Chronic loneliness raises your risk of early death by a margin comparable to smoking, not a little, comparable to smoking. Loneliness, it turns out, is not just a feeling. It's a health condition the body treats as an emergency. And this is the part that sounds like a contradiction, but isn't. The same signal that can damage you over years is the very thing trying to save you in the moment. Because loneliness was never meant to be a place you live. It was meant to be a push, a nudge, an uncomfortable jolt designed to last only as long as it takes to send you back toward other people. Just as hunger is supposed to end at a meal and thirst is supposed to end at water, loneliness is supposed to end at connection. The pain is not the problem, the pain is the instruction. It's only when the instruction goes unanswered year after year that the alarm starts eating away at the house it was built to protect. So sit with the strange beauty of this for a moment. The thing you've been treating as a personal failing is actually proof that an unbroken chain of ancestors, stretching back beyond language, beyond fire, survived precisely because they could not bear to be alone. You feel lonely because the ones who didn't feel it left no descendants. Your capacity for that ache is, quite literally, why you're here. Which brings us to the most modern part of all. You live in the least isolated era in human history and one of the loneliest. You can reach 1,000 people in a second. You can watch other lives unfold in endless detail. And somehow, more people report feeling alone now than at almost any point we've measured. Why? Because your ancient alarm wasn't built to register names on a screen. It was built to register presence, bodies in a room, shared food, shared danger, the warmth of people who would notice if you didn't come back. A like is not a hand on your shoulder. A comment is not a face across a fire. The brain that scans for belonging keeps coming up empty, even as the notifications pour in. The tools that were supposed to connect us often just remind the alarm how far away everyone really is. So what do you do with this? You stop treating the feeling as an enemy. The next time loneliness arrives, Recognize it for what it is, not a verdict on your worth, not a sign that you're broken. A message in the oldest voice your body knows, asking you to do the single thing that has kept your kind alive since the beginning. Reach towards someone, a real someone. A call instead of a scroll, a face instead of a feed. The ache will not be satisfied by being understood. It will only be satisfied by being answered. So, it's a Friday night, your phone is full of names. And that heavy thing settling into your chest, the one you were ready to call a flaw, is not a flaw at all. It's 200,000 years of ancestors leaning in close, whispering the same word they've always whispered. Don't go out into the dark alone. Subscribe and follow for more Life in Frames.